Hello bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature. Welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and write secret mystery magical letters to each other and talk about books both published and unpublished. We are your hosts, Jenna.
Hi.
Marissa.
Hello.
And I'm Megan. Before we get started, let's talk about what we're drinking.
So I feel like this time we're all cheating because we went to the big bad Starbucks.
Oh, no.
And this is totally going to give away our season, but I'm drinking the shaken apple espresso. I'm drinking coffee today, guys. I'm the weird.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We still like you.
I drink coffee most of the time, too, but the only thing I can think of when you called and asked what I wanted from Starbucks was a chai tea latte, so that's what I got.
It's fair.
And then I got the pumpkin, what was it? The pumpkin cream chai foam something or other.
Yeah.
Fancy Starbucks.
Fancy
Starbucks, one of their seasonal stuff. And then we have a special little treat today as well because Jenna made me birthday cupcakes.
Yes.
So Jenna, tell us what flavor these cupcakes are because they're amazing.
So they're pumpkin. Sorry, Marissa. They're pumpkin chai tea latte cupcakes with a brown sugar chai frosting, buttercream frosting, and then we sprinkle a little bit of chai sugar on top.
And it's absolutely perfect because I am drinking and eating the same exact thing. And
Yes.
It's absolutely divine.
I love it.
So thank you for that. It's super special.
Speaking of divine.
Yeah, nice
Heyo.
choice of words.
We are doing I guess this is like a book club episode, basically, where we read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and we're going to talk about it today. So I think what we're doing is just every couple of episodes, someone's going to recommend a book, and we're going to read it and then discuss it in a future episode.
Yeah.
So this was my book. I chose this one. So my history with Rebecca Ross was I got Dreams Lie Beneath. I don't remember if it was an Owl Crate book or an Illuma Crate book, but we got it in one of the book boxes, and it took me forever to read it, but when I did, I was like, oh, this is so good. And the thing that I've realized just by reading 2 of her books is that she'll do a flip-flop where it's like, this is what the story's about. And then like halfway to 3/4 of the way through, she's like, nope, this is actually what the book is about. And that's like what happened with Dreams Lie Beneath and with Divine Rivals. So this book is about Iris and Roman Kit, which is mostly called Kit throughout the entire book. But they work at the same publishing house for a newspaper, and they kind of cover the war and just, other stuff, but they're rivals.
Mm-hmm.
And Iris's brother is in the war effort. There's a war, it's like a god's war where everyone fights for a different god. What happens after that?
And they start receiving letters through their wardrobes. What I liked about this is it gave me full-on World War II vibes, even though it's a completely fantastical world. The war is not what we, it's not our wars that we're used to in real world. But because it's like such a whole universe is affected, it feels like World War II vibes. And that's also the kind of the time area it felt like to me.
It's funny because you say that. I was thinking more World War One, but it's that early 1900s, which is interesting because, it starts out, and I go into this not really knowing much about it, except for it's kind of like a You Got Mail storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I like the very first part where it's, Iris and her brother saying goodbye to each other before he goes to the war. And, in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, something like World War II, World War I era. And she makes a comment of, maybe I should enlist. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this isn't actually our world.
Yes.
But, yeah, I think that's one of the things I definitely liked about this was that it was a fantasy story that wasn't, medieval fantasy or anything like that. It was kind of more of, a semi-modern history fantasy.
Right. Yeah.
I also loved that too. I thought it was really fun. I always love, that's books that I write are usually what's the industrial revolution where machines are still here, but there's still magic.
Yeah.
So I really liked this a lot as well, where it immediately did actually feel like it could be set in our world if you don't go into it knowing anything about it, which is how I live my life.
I also liked that. I liked that it felt like it could be our world. It did automatically like be like the gods' war, which like told you this is not your world. This is not any war that you know of. But the whole idea, the whole world is set in this time where there's, you know, a multi-god system and two of them are at war and they get called into the war by the gods. So you get kind of like drawn in. But what's interesting is it doesn't, even though there's like an overall like this side and this side, it's not like our city is in France and therefore we're on this side of the war.
Right.
It's like some people are on one god's side and some are on the other. And right now I'm totally blanking on the gods' names.
Do you know what's funny is that, so Jenna and I listened to this in audiobook version, and
Dacre?
yeah, I don't know how they're spelled at all. It's Enver and Baker or Daka or something like that, because they had accents when they...
Ah.
Yeah, so she was saying it's Denver and Acre.
Enver.
And Enver and Dacre. That's right. Totally good idea.
I don't know. We'll have Megan tell us what she thinks the god's names are because she read it.
I read it like 2 months ago.
Oh, fair enough.
Basically when I was like, hey guys, we should read this, and I immediately hopped into it because I was like,
Fair enough.
let's get it. So I think it was Enva.
Yeah,
Is it Enva?
Enva and Dakar or something?
Yeah,
so
I
you
heard
pronounce
right,
it
yeah.
Dacre.
And
Yeah.
I heard Daka, but it's...
If it has an accent, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always interesting reading books and then going to the audiobook and being like, I did not pronounce that.
Well, and then that's also the question of did
they pronounce it correctly?
That's a very good question. I have definitely read Korean books where the audiobook person does not know a thing about Korean and they pronounce it so horribly wrong that it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely read listened to audiobooks where multiple people do like the series. And when you get into like the
different
next
people.
person, it's like they miss each of
Yeah.
them are pronouncing it differently, and I'm like,
Yeah.
who's right?
I would think like the author should be able to provide something. Like,
Right.
Is
Yeah.
this how you pronounce it? I don't know.
Hey, can I reach out to you? Tell me how you pronounce this.
like when J.K. Rowling had to pronounce Hermione for Crumb.
In Korean, it's Hermione, which
Hermione.
sounds, and they're just like, this is exactly how it's written but they read it and they're like, oh, this is how it's written in like American English,
Right.
Yeah.
not British English. So this is how we pronounce it. And I was like, oh gosh, you're wrong. And then they're like, no.
But we're not wrong.
So back to the book.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So Marissa and I both listened to it in audiobook, and it was kind of my first experience with a book that I hadn't read before listening in audiobook. And it was my favorite. It's been so far my favorite book in audiobook. So if you haven't read it and you're kind of held up because you're like, when am I going to have time? Highly suggest the audiobook, just so you guys know.
Did it have two?
Yes.
So it had a male and a female?
Yes, it had a male and a female. They had the most lovely British accents.
It's kind of interesting because it's like, so Jenna had told me it's got a male and a female. And so I almost heard it like a radio play is what I thought it was going to be like, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because it's written in two different perspectives, so there were times that Iris was the perspective and she'd be talking to Kit, and I would think like, oh, he's gonna come in and say whatever she hears him say, but it wasn't. It was
Right.
how Iris heard him, so she spoke. But when it was Kit's perspective, he spoke
did her
for
voice,
her
yeah.
and all that. So it wasn't like a play of them talking back and forth. It was just different perspectives.
This is so interesting to me because I've done audiobooks for like, I don't know, I think I got into them in 2016.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And professional audiobook listener here. It's so interesting that you guys like think of that because when I first got into audiobooks, like now it's so obvious to me, like, no, they would never do that. But then when I first got into them, and I think the first two that I ever listened to, besides Harry Potter, of course, was Interview with a Vampire and Stardust. And both of those were just a single audiobook person. But there are actual audiobooks, like The Golden Compass has one that is like an audio, like a play. Like a, what is it? What did you say? A radio?
Yeah,
Like
radio play.
radio show.
Yeah, where they actually have that. So there are special ones like that, but Yeah, I remember going into them and thinking, oh, the man's just doing all the voices for all the girls. And sometimes you get, good ones and sometimes you don't. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard when they overdo it. I think that was something
yeah.
that was okay with this audiobook, was that neither one of the voice actors was using like over the top exaggerated voices for anything. It was always just subtle changes. Like, it wasn't like when she was talking, she was really high, and when he was talking, he was really low. It's not like that. Which
No.
I've heard audiobooks like that, and it's annoying. But it was just a very subtle, like, she'd go just slightly lower and maybe like a slower pace or something for somebody else. She had the accent for what's-her-face, the lady she stayed with.
Oh, yeah, in the later part of the book.
Yeah, she, like, had that accent, but it wasn't like I'm gonna completely change it to, like, an American accent. It was, like, a northern accent or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved listening in an audiobook, but like I said, part of it was their lovely British accents. And she wasn't over the top. I think it helps that there was not a ton of characters.
Right.
So, like, some books where they have, a main cast of, like, 6 or 7 people and then side characters, it's like,
You need different voices
they
for
need
every single
over-the-top voices for
Yeah.
every character so you can tell who's talking. And it's like, oh, that really annoying high-pitched one is so-and-so. So I liked that. But this is mainly just, it focuses on them, too. There are a few other characters that are important and stick around, but I liked that because they were the main characters, there wasn't a whole lot of extra that she had to do.
Right.
But, so, getting back to it, essentially what happens in this is they're rivals in their newspaper, and they're both writers, and they're both working for the editor position.
Right.
And was that it? Not
Yeah.
editor?
It was like head writer or something.
I thought
Oh,
it was
head
a publisher.
writer.
Lead columnist.
Lead columnist.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Lead columnist.
The lead columnist position. And all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, it's been happening to them, is Iris is writing to her brother in the war, and because she doesn't have a way to reach him and he's completely unreachable, she's just been like throwing her letters into her wardrobe, where they just mysteriously disappear.
Right.
And we find out really early that they're actually showing up in Kit's wardrobe, and he's reading them, and he finally responds back and goes, "This is not your brother."
Yeah. But he immediately knows.
But he knows who she is,
Yeah.
and she doesn't know who he is. And she kind of is like, "This isn't fair. I don't know who you are." And, I mean, we all know it's Kit, and she talks about Roman C. Kit, and it's kind of a joke. She keeps coming up, Roman...
Okay. I want to. That was something that when they first started it, I'm like, please keep this up, and they did, and I was so happy.
Oh my god, I loved
when
it.
she found out his middle initial was C, she just kept coming up with words for what the C could stand for, like conceited or
Cunning.
churlish.
Cunning. Yes, it was all like she'd come up, and it was fun, and it was throughout the whole book, so it kept it going, and I loved it. But she's like, Roman C. Kit, and then he uses his middle name, because he won't ever tell her what it is, as who he is in the letter. So it's Carver. And I have to say, like, how is it that he has 3 names, and I like every name but his first name?
Actually, I didn't think Roman was that bad, but
I'm not a fan.
he has 3 great names.
I'm
Carver is such a great name. Oh, Carver. I realize where I know Carver from. Amy Kaufman's I think it was her first book in the Starbound, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
These Shattered Stars or something.
Yeah.
He's the main dude. Anyway, great name.
Yeah. I liked Carver, and I liked Kit, and every time they'd go Roman, I'm like, meh. I don't know why. It was just like, of all the names to call you, your first name is not my favorite.
To be fair, they kept calling him Kit, and all I could picture was Kit Harington.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, yeah. The book that I got had the cover with them on it, so it's the Fairy Loot version of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the 2 of them on the front. And I think it was actually the style that they were drawn in was very 1920s-ish, 1930s, so it was drawn in like a World War II era kind of thing.
I think it was the trench coat that made me feel 1920s and 30s. So that's when she gets her brother's trench coat at the beginning, and that's like kind of a thing. The trench coat kind of follows them around. Like, that's what set it for me in that time period, because for whatever reason, trench coats don't exist outside of the 1920s and 30s to me.
They were invented in the 1920s and then never came back.
Never seen again. But yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I love enemies to lovers.
Oh, it was such a
rivals
good
to
one.
lovers.
It was such a good one.
This was a perfect one for me. And I liked, because even when you see, Kit knows that it's Iris from the beginning, and Iris doesn't know it's Kit. And because she gave herself away really early on, he didn't necessarily be like, I've loved her this whole time,
Right.
which is very typical of the enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, I didn't really like her, like, but I let my prejudice hold me back from liking her. And then he finds that, like, he just can't not be interested in her. And they, like, develop this relationship and stuff. But what's interesting, too, and what I liked about it is that they develop a relationship both in their letters and outside of the letters.
Yes.
It's not just, oh, we like each other in the letters, but outside of it, we continue to, like, not interact or not talk. And so, I don't know if we want to start kind of maybe
Spoiler warning soon.
Yeah, I think
spoiler warning, because at this point, like, you now know what you would know if you were just entering the book. Anything past this is going to be stuff that could possibly spoil anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So if
Spoiler
you don't
warning.
want to hear any more, pause or skip or
Come
don't
back
listen.
later.
Come back later. Okay.
So, as I said earlier, how Rebecca Ross likes to, like, flip things. I did not expect her going to, like, the front lines and, like, literally be on the front lines. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
And she's, like, literally in the trenches.
Right.
She's, like, helping people. She's, like, taking notes on everything. And then I just loved that Kit was just like, well, she's not here. Oh, well, I'm just going to go find her.
Yes.
And that was it. And it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
He's in it for life with her.
Yeah. I loved that when it started, I liked it. I liked the book. I liked how it started. I liked the idea that they were rivals and she was a writer and her brother was at war. But it became so much more interesting when she went to the front lines.
Yeah.
And
There's,
when
like,
her
the-
mom died.
The
And it's
world
like,
building
yes.
was just phenomenal after that point.
Right. And like how she dealt with the grief of her mom
Mm-hmm.
was so realistic in grief where you just literally like blank out
Mm-hmm.
and like can't process and then you just can't handle it anymore, so you just leave.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's so realistic to me with people going through grief who have nothing holding them to that and not knowing where to go with it. That's something that I think people want to do a lot in grief. I'm just going to leave. I just can't do this anymore. And
Yeah.
she just does it,
Just
which is
escape.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then when she goes into the front lines, it gives her purpose and she's able to like, she's searching for her brother and she's wanting to help people and she's wanting to understand more about the war and she's like really becoming herself as a writer, which is amazing and such a character development for her. And then I love that Kit's just like, where the heck did she go? Wait, what the heck?
Oh.
And we have to talk about the fact that it's not actually their wardrobes
Yes.
connected.
Yes.
So they thought that the wardrobes were what were connecting them, but it turns out it's their typewriters. So they start still getting letters from each other, which allowed the letters to continue to happen. Because when I thought she left, I was like, well,
That's it.
okay.
How are the letters
Like-
going to continue? And they still did.
They still did. And so they continued to have that relationship. She found a good way of making it so that they could do that. They could keep having those letters without the magical wardrobe that's transporting it back and forth. It's a typewriter. And their connection through the typewriter, which she explains in the book, which is also great. It's not
Yeah.
just like, for some reason, we're mystically connected through this typewriter.
No, it
It's
actually
like,
has a meaning in it.
It
Yeah.
does.
Like, there's a history on the typewriter, which
I want a prequel.
I was just thinking that because I was like, she sets up a lot of different prequel opportunities as well with this book, where it's like she has the typewriter one with the three friends and all of that,
Mhm.
and then she's got like the whole story of Enver, whatever, the two gods,
the two gods.
the mythology stories,
Can
like
we make the old story about the three friends with the typewriter sapphic? Like, is
I
that
mean,
too much to ask
Gotta
for?
be.
Because, I mean...
Well, I will say, because Jenna did tell me going into it too, she's like, oh, don't worry, there's at least one gay character in here, and there was one,
Yeah.
and it was kind of cool because it was I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's the one that she stayed with. Basically, when Iris becomes a correspondent, she has this house that she stays with that's like a friend or a connection with the paper she's writing for, and the woman that owns that place has a wife who is also in the war.
Yeah. Did they? I don't think they said until she showed up, right?
Yeah.
They just said.
Well, no, she did. So Iris noticed the band and
Marisol.
Marisol. So Iris noticed the band on her finger. It was like, oh, she's married, but we don't know anything. And Marisol didn't want to say that she was married to a soldier, but there was.
Oh, she's out. She's off in work or something.
Yeah,
She's
she kept
traveling
saying
for work.
Yeah, my wife, she's just out. She's
Oh,
traveling, but she did say wife pretty early on because they were talking about the garden and
you're
why
right,
she's
okay.
taking care of the garden. It's like, oh, for when my wife comes back.
That's right. That's right,
And
because that's her.
they kind of put two and two together. It's like, hey, is your wife out fighting? She's like, yeah, I just didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want the tribunal to stop sending me people, stop sending the correspondence here thinking that I have a bias.
Right. Oh, right, because the writers have to be totally unbiased in the war, and yet it's so difficult because Iris's brother is fighting for the, I guess, female god, the goddess, and then the god is, like, supposed to be the bad guy, which
They didn't tell you until, like, later that he was kind of the bad guy.
Right.
They
Well,
didn't
he
really-
did, in the beginning, he brought, like, monsters forth, right?
Yeah. I think, so this is something that I almost had a little bit of a problem with that I thought was going to go really well and then didn't go the way I wanted it to. Because I feel like she is building him up to be very black and white of like, hey, here's the bad guy from the underworld who's got all these monsters, and here's the good goddess from the overworld who sings songs and makes everybody feel better. But like, she would drop little hints of stuff like, he can heal people, and like that's kind of, he's the god of healing and stuff like that, so there's stuff that he could do right. And then, major spoiler, when Forrest shows up and he's all like, yeah, I was a deserter for the goddess I was fighting for, and instead I started fighting for him, I was thinking, oh shoot, we're gonna learn like he's actually a really good guy, he's the right side, we've been taught the wrong history this entire time, and now he's like, I was enslaved by him.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
damn it.
That's where, but I think that that's kind of the thing is like, I think that she purposefully did that where it's like, it could make it too obvious that like, he's the underling god from down below and has his monsters, and she's the pretty goddess that calls you to war. And it's like,
Through song.
Through song. She sings to you.
She's a siren. That could have been such a good turn.
Right. And it's like, really, it seems like both of them are kind of the bad guys, because really, why do you need humans to fight your war?
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, I think she purposely tried to make it vague because that's how the humans of the land feel. They don't really know who the bad guy and the good guy is and whose side they're on. And then as you find out more about it, like, I think that happens with any issue. You become more on one side. I mean, first of all, the victor tells the story. So, but I mean, we can all kind of agree that Hitler was the bad guy of World War II.
Oh, yeah.
But the Germans at the time that couldn't see outside of it would fully support him.
Right.
Well, not all of them.
Right.
Obviously, there were both sides of it, but your side is selling you propaganda.
Exactly.
So they're going to try to convince you that they're right.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you get to know more of the full story, you're able to kind of figure out, like, what's worth fighting for.
Which is why I think in book 2...
Yes, I can't wait for book 2.
Which comes out in, like, a couple weeks now.
Yes.
I think we're actually going to get a lot more from the, like, quote-quote bad guy's side.
Yeah.
Because another huge spoiler... Roman is now enslaved by that army.
Yes.
Yeah. That was like the very last chapter of the book, and I was just like, gosh dang it. How dare you lead me on.
I am going to be completely honest, I didn't know how they were going to make it 2 books.
Yeah.
As it was going, as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, this is wrapping up great. Like, they find out who each other are.
They're married.
They've like like, the whole relationship has run its course, and it's a perfect single book. And I was like, but I know there's a second one coming. Like, what's going to happen? Because where is this going to go? And then originally I thought maybe the second one was going to be, like, a prequel or, like, the end of the war or maybe Forrest's book. Nope.
It's definitely going to be more.
I know.
Since we brought up the marriage, let's talk about, I have this thing where once, like, the two main characters get together, I get so bored with it. Like, if they kiss, it's fine, but as long as they still, like, have banter. But I think this one did a good job because the world building was so good and there was so much outside of just their relationship to keep, like, focus on, that them getting together and actually getting married, I was kind of like, oh my god, this is, like, running so quickly.
Yes.
Like, they just immediately, like, reunited. Oh, you lied to me. Okay, let's get married, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a little but I actually thought it was, like, really sweet. Like, I felt like the, butterflies in my tummy as I was reading this, and they were, like, in love. It didn't last long. But
I also like that the reasoning behind it, because even they made a point about, like, we're rushing into this, but it's war, and, like, people are dying every day, and we don't want to waste our time together. And also, we didn't really talk about the fact that early on, Kit was engaged to someone else, and his parents and family were pushing to have him married to someone else.
A forced engagement.
Yes. So it wasn't like he was, like, with someone, but honestly, like, if my family was trying to get me to marry someone else, I'd probably be like, look, I'm locking down the person I want to be with, so you can't try to play anything. Like, I'm married, too late.
But it's actually important. Like, that actual plot line is important because that family was weapon suppliers for Dakar? Dacre?
I don't know.
The god. The underworld god.
The god, yeah. We'll just call him the god and the goddess.
Yeah.
So they were supplying weapons to the god, and there was this like underlying thing, like, you need to, like, be willing to help him.
Yeah.
Otherwise something bad is gonna happen. They weren't bombs, right? Was it gas?
Yeah, it was gas.
Yeah.
Gas, right. That they were.
And it kind of came into play at the end of the book, too, in the big thing, at the big finale, in the big war. We finally get to meet Marisol's wife. Yay! We love her. And then they're, like, trying to save their town on the front lines and having that war, and the gas comes into play. And Roman knows about it. Oh, I just used his first name. And so he knows about it, and he is like, oh God, I know what's happening because of his engagement and stuff. And that's how Iris and him get kind of separated and lost from each other, is through the gas and, like, all of that. And then there's a gas masked person wearing Roman's
uniform. Okay, his uniform was stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she thinks it's Roman helping her out, and turns out it's Forrest.
I think, so he doesn't really know the full extent of what's going on still, though, because he had said something when he first saw the canisters in his dad's office.
Not Forrest, yeah.
Yeah, Roman. When he first saw the canister, he was like, oh, bombs. But, like, so his mind was bombs, but it wasn't bombs. That was the surprise part of it. Was
right.
He was expecting the explosions, and it wasn't.
Also, I just need to touch base. When Kit tells her about his little sister and her dying,
Del.
I actually cried.
Same.
I had to stop and cry.
Mm-hmm.
And now I do cry easy because I'm a mom and it's ruined my emotions. But I'm not an easy crier. Like, I might tear up a little bit in a book, but I, like, had to take a moment and, like, full on, like, oh my gosh, this hit me so hard. She did that so beautifully.
Yeah.
She wrote that.
It was
whole
heartbreaking.
Thing. It was perfectly heartbreaking. So be careful, because it's heavy, but it's also so important to the story and their connection. And oh my God, it killed me.
Which makes me think that later, if they, like, reunite between Roman and Kit, not only can they bond over, like, being enslaved by the god, but, like, having a little sister and wanting to protect them and doing whatever you can.
Yeah.
So when Forrest came and basically kidnapped Iris and was like, I'm saving you from this, like, the front lines war, because the war has arrived at their village, that I'm saving you, I'm getting you out of here, you shouldn't have been here in the first place, but let's go. And her being like, no, I have to go back for Roman. I have to go back for Roman. And him being like, nope.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll go back and see if he's still there, if his body's still there. But, it's not. And then,
he knows.
He knows because he saw the thing on the ground, like the
Yeah.
circle, the magic circle of him being like resurrected or whatever.
Yeah, and he had to fight his way out of Dacre's control.
Yeah.
So it was like he had to like pull away from him. It wasn't something that's easy to do. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm enslaved. I just have to break away from my chains and get away. It's like he has control over you.
Right.
So I think that Iris was his way of breaking out because he needed to save her.
Mm-hmm. So
And
maybe that will help with
maybe
Kit
that will help
to escape
Kit.
as well. We'll have to see. I am so excited for book 2. I'm definitely going to read it the second it comes out.
Yes, I think that I don't know if you would be willing to read it, but I think that it would be fun to do another follow-up episode after it comes out and we read it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably read it. I think the reason why I'll read that one more is because it will be more focused on the gods. I believe.
I think so too.
Because that's part of what really interests me. Yeah, like the love story was good and everything, and a lot of the times when I read straight love stories, I just try to envision it as like, okay, just people, not gender.
Yeah.
Which was all right most of the time, and it was fine. There were things that I didn't like about it, and things that I did like, but it definitely was not the drawing point to this.
Yeah.
I think the world was more. And, I mean, Jenna knows all about this. I'm definitely like, why are you focusing on the love story when your siblings out there somewhere? Like,
Yeah.
There was a whole thing. If you guys haven't watched The Walking Dead, this is slight spoiler for that, but there was a whole, like, arc of these two, like, the sister and her husband. Like, the sister was trying to find her husband the entire time, and I'm like, your sister is out there missing right now. Like, why are you looking for your husband and not your sister?
The husband's more important.
Exactly. And then,
Love conquers all.
guess what? The sister dies because she didn't go looking for her. And I was like, well, good job. So I don't know. I was definitely more interested in it. And like Jenna was saying, if they had a second book that this one didn't end in a cliffhanger, I would have been interested to see Forrest's side of the
I
thing.
really hope that she does a prequel of some sort.
I know.
Something, because the world building is so perfect, and the story with the mythology is great. And honestly, the freaking typewriters, please, I need that story. I need to know what happens. So,
Rebecca Ross, if you're listening, please and thank you.
But yeah, I think that if we could all do a sit down, read that one, and then we'll have a better idea, because this book I loved it. I give it really well ratings if we're gonna rate it. I wonder if the second book will make it even better,
right?
Or possibly make it worse. I wonder if it would affect my rating. So I'm really curious to see how it will change our opinions of the books as we read the second book. So
yeah.
So what rating did you guys give it then?
I'd give it a 4.5.
Okay.
A 4.5 would be mine.
Yeah. How about you, Marissa?
I'm assuming out of 5. We're
Yes,
doing
out
then.
of 5.
Okay. I would land it somewhere between. I'll go 4. I'll round up to 4. So I would say it's somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4. So I'd go to a 4.
I gave it a 5 out of 5 because this was one of my favorite books of the year. It's also very interesting, and this is just kind of a little side note. I also read The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which is basically the exact same story, except she's an undertaker, and he's like someone who hunts down monsters who like possess bodies, and then when he helps the bodies that are no longer possessed, takes them to her, and then they write letters to each other as well. That one also has a very interesting world building in it as well. I also recommend it. I gave that one, I think I ended up giving that one 4 out of 5. But yeah, it was basically the same premise where they write letters to each other and they're rivals and they don't like each other. I really loved this one. I thought it was so fun. I loved the world building, and I love that the romance was there but not the main focal point of it. Yes. So yeah, it was a 5 out of 5. And it might be pretty high up there for like one of my favorite books of the year.
I think the only reason I say 4.5 is 2 reasons. One, I think that I'm hesitant to give a 5 to a book that hasn't finished yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm hesitant to say that it's a 5 and be like, this is my favorite book of the year. And then I get the second book and I'm like,
Oh no.
I hate it. But also, I think the only thing holding it back from a 5 for me, something that I actually defended earlier, is the way that she portrayed the war between the two gods. As I think that it could have done a little better, and the fact that it did turn out where Dacre, the god, is just completely evil and taking over the minds was something that it's like, it'll if it does well next book, then that'll pop it up to a 5. But if it just falls perfectly into he's evil and now we're gonna go down that storyline and she's good, and we're gonna pretend like she didn't do all the other horrible stuff and still call people to war, then I'll be upset.
Oh, by the way, we kind of skipped over it, but the whole story with the goddess, when she went down to the underworld with him and put them all to sleep and would just like wander around till she found her way out. Right. That was brilliant.
She was so smart, and I like her and I like him, but I just don't want them to make it too black and white and like use it as an escape for everything. So Rebecca Ross, please don't do that.
I was gonna say though, I think part of the reason why I put it lower, well, really kind of like Jenna, 2 reasons. One is you mentioned that it like the romance wasn't the main focal point. I think the romance was the main focal point. The world was the background in this.
That's a fair point.
Especially when you were in Kit's perspective, because Kit was just like pining after her the entire time.
Oh my god, you're right.
Which I love. I love when the guy pines after the girl.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's fine. It's
It's
totally fine. It's definitely got a romance book to it because it's divine rivals. It was not only about the War of the Gods, but also those two. So I think it was a 50-50 at least. So I mean, and that's fine, but just full on romance isn't my style. But and I think like Jenna said, the black and white of it was a little bit rough for me.
At the end, that's what it was. It was black and white at the end. Early on, it's set up so it's like,
kind of, but not even, because I mean, she's got the bias of her brothers fighting for what she believes to be the goddess, and so I think she's got that bias, even though she's kind of talks about like, man, it really sucks that she's making these people fight for her.
Right. Yeah.
But
right.
It was still kind of, I think there was still that bias in there, and that might come like if you're one of those English teachers, it's like, I'm gonna look at the deeper meaning of everything. It's like you could draw a lot of conclusions from that of like, okay, the pretty lady that men are willing to die for, or whatever it might be, or the guy that's just predator and persistent and trying to get the pretty lady is the bad guy. But
right.
I don't know. I would have liked to see a different story from that. So like you said, maybe next book it'll be better.
Yeah.
It'll change that perspective.
I hope there's twists next book.
Oh, there's gotta be. There's gotta be.
So.
How about we end this on what are you guys hoping will show up in the next book? And then when we do read it and we do come back, we can say, okay, hey, this is what happened.
I am hoping that they don't draw out her and Kit not getting back together.
Oh, you want them to reunite pretty quickly?
I want them to reunite quickly, but I don't want it to be instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be like, I hate those books where it's like, oh, the whole plot is like, I lost my significant other, so I'm just going to follow and try to do it. So it's a whole nother book of us looking out for that other person. And then, oh, we'll reunite, 3/4 of the way through the book.
That's like me reading Siege and Storm, the second Shadow and Bone book.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, they escaped the Darkling. Like, the next book is just going to be him chasing after them. And then it was like chapter 2, he shows up again and he kidnaps them. And he's like, yep, you're going to find the sea serpent.
Right.
And I was like, wait, what happened? What was the whole point of even leaving?
Right. Yeah. So I want it to be, I want them to reunite before the halfway mark, but not before the quarter mark. So somewhere in there, like a third of the way through the book.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
That's reasonable.
I'm very specific here. Rebecca Ross, I wanted exactly 1/3 of the way through the book. I hope they go more into the gods' motivation and not just like, oh, well, he wants her, so he's chasing her down and she just doesn't want to be with him, so she's fighting him off. So I kind of hope they go into that, and I really, really hope that there's more of a twist than just, well, he's the bad guy that enslaves the humans. Which, I mean, when you think about it, isn't she kind of enslaving
I was gonna
them
say
through
she
song?
does. Yeah, she's basically
So, like,
luring them, sirening.
Yeah,
them.
so she's either sirening them the song, and then he's saving them from death. So I'm hoping that there is a way that it turns out that maybe he's the good guy and she isn't as good as she seems, or
Right.
vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping for more of the, like, God's perspective, whether it's through mythology or directly like we got at the end of the book. I definitely want to see more of the opposite side of it rather than what we've been getting of, you know, the story of the victor, she was pursued and she tricked him and was able to get away and all of that stuff. Like, now I want to see his side of it. The interesting thing about this book, and especially this book series, I'm assuming going into it, it's not about, like, the chosen one's going to save the world.
Yeah.
She's not sitting here trying to save the world or anything like that. She just
wants her brother.
She just wants her brother. She's just, you know, giving this quote-unquote unbiased perspective and writing about it and just seeing, like, the turmoils of war.
Oh no, that's exactly what the second one's gonna be.
She's a chosen one that's gotta save the world to rescue her.
He's gonna get out, and then they're somehow gonna stop the war, them three.
Yeah.
Forrest and Kit.
I hope not.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't want it...
Ugh.
I don't want it to be a chosen one story.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it just being like, here's the terrible thing about war and all of this stuff that's happening during it, and there are no real victors because everybody's miserable during war.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I like about it. Obviously, I'd like to see what's her face, Marisol and her wife and Addie again, and see what happened to them if they got out and what they're doing to either survive or fight back.
Her wife seemed to be having, shell shock almost, where, like, we're just focused on the task right now, but obviously the things between them that they had before were not the same. Like, she didn't seem to care about the garden as much.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, you kept it up. But then she was just like, well, oh well.
I think it's that part of, like, what I was saying, like, the book kind of gives you that perspective on war, and it's like war gives you a perspective on life. Like, yes, that garden was beautiful, and I'm so glad that you tended to it and you made it our own, but also it's not important. What's important is you, so let's get you out of here.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, I think I agree with everything that you guys said. I would just love more of the God's perspective. I'd love more history on, because they were sealed by humans however many years ago. I would like to hear more on, like, how they did that, if that's what's going to happen in this book, and whether it's going to be them that does it. I don't want it to be them. I wanted them to just be, like, the regular people. That's what I loved. Sorry, this is another side note. That's what I loved about Star Wars, was that when in the sequel series, when Rey came out and they're just like, you're just a nobody, but she's still a super powerful Jedi.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, anybody can be a Jedi. Great. She's not a specific chosen one. And then the last movie just basically threw that all out the window and was just like, nope, she actually is special, and only super special people can have Jedi powers. So I really hope it's not that way.
Yeah.
Where they're just normal people and they can still help out, but only in the capacity that they can. Because she's just a writer. She's not a fighter. Kit's a writer. He's not a fighter. He seems almost like very much a pacifist.
Yeah.
I think that they need to have... I think they're going to have to wrap the war up.
Yeah.
They built that up, so the war is going to have to end somehow. And I feel like because they're characters, they're going to have to play a part in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that it's not the, like, oh, we're special because we broke away from Dacre's hold over us. I hope it's something else that they just, like, lend to helping, you know?
If Marisol and her wife are the ones that do it,
oh my god, they could be the special ones.
They could be the special
There you go.
ones.
I think the interesting, and what I would believe would go with, like, almost the theme of this is less like they're going to end the war and more they'll reveal the truth of it.
Yeah.
And maybe it won't be like, okay, now we're done fighting, and it'll be more like, okay, now we have the right perspective and the world can readjust to that new perspective type thing. it might be more of an open-ended ending.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least how I would like to see it go, is more of like this, hey, this isn't a solid, like, okay, this god is defeated and this god is the rightful winner or whatever it might be. It's just more of a like, hey, here's what you guys need to know. Humanity decide what to do with it.
Right. Yeah, I'm very excited to read it. I think it's going to be fun. Any last thoughts?
I just have to say, Addie, I don't know why. Did you guys watch Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lally in Fantastic Beasts, I'm looking up a picture of her. That's exactly how I pictured Addie, and I don't know why exactly, but just like, I think it was the accent of the girl as she was talking about her.
Who?
So I'm looking up a picture so you guys can see it.
And I gotta find the person that I pictured her as.
Yes. It's funny because I didn't really like necessarily have a certain person that I pictured as Iris or Kit. I think because I'd seen the Fairy Loot one, Addie was exactly this person to me.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why. That's just who popped into my head, and every time she'd talk, I'd think of this person.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm gonna imagine her. She's beautiful.
Okay,
love her.
that's not too far off from what I pictured her as.
I honestly do not remember her from the movie at all.
It's funny because Jelani and I, we grew up on Harry Potter and everything, and then one time we were binge watching all the Harry Potter movies. It's probably 2016, 17 when we first got together, and the Fantastic Beasts were out, but there was only a few of them out at that time, I think, and I'd never watched them. So I was like, we can watch them if you want. And he's like, yeah, let's watch them. And he's like, Jenna, this is even better than Harry Potter. He's going around collecting animals. And I was like, that is such a Jelani thing. He's like, I want to be him when I grow up.
Get all the pets.
So yeah, he just wants to collect all the cool pets. And so that became like Jelani's favorite out of them.
That's like when we went camping. He was like, I want to see a snake.
Yes.
I want to catch a lizard.
Try to find
catch a lizard.
That's exactly who he is. He's like, oh, we'll see something. He's like, I want to pet it. And I'm like, Jelani, it will rip your face off.
No wonder he and I get along so well.
Yes. If Jelani could have a superpower, he'd be Snow White and sing and all the animals would come.
Jelani is a Disney princess.
Yes.
I mean, I had to go through my comic to find it, but this is from the Nevermore comic.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I pictured her as.
Oh, okay. Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
similar
very
vibes.
similar.
I don't know. I don't know if it's how she was described or just the voice, but that's exactly who came to mind. So tell us who you think the characters looked like, who your interests were.
Do your fan cast.
Yeah, your fan cast of who these people would be.
All right, so before we sign off, what are you guys reading?
I am reading Beneath the Haunting Sea. Beneath the Haunting Sea. It's
by Joanna
Ruth
Meyer.
That's about where I'm at with that. We'll get into that at the end of the year, hopefully, with our special edition cast discussion.
I'm reading The Valkyrie's Daughter by Tiana Warner.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where it's like it kept popping up as like recommended, and I'm pretty sure it's queer. Actually, I'm like 99% sure it's queer now, but yeah. But it was also one of those ones where I'm all like, I don't know, it could be really good, it could be really bad. So I downloaded a sample on my Kindle, and I like it so far.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm reading Zara by S.J. Jones. And it's, a fantasy book. I bought it totally on the cover and the fact that has some Korean folklore in it. There you go. All right, so I'll sign us off with a quote, and this is actually from The Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Even in the silence, I hope you will find the words you need to share. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, guys, signing off. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.